Wow, 50 episodes. Never thought I'd make it here, but here we are. It's been an awesome ride, and I just want to take a moment to say thank you to the listeners that have taken the time to stop and listen to even 1 minute of this podcast. I want to say thank you. Whether you were rocking with me since episode 1 or you just found the podcast recently, I truly appreciate you tuning in. In today's episode, we're celebrating the journey so far, talking about where the Kawfee Break started, my favorite moments, what I've learned, and where I want to take things next. Plus, we've got some big gaming news, including an update on Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, Avowedreviews Onimusha, and Ubisoft getting called out for not making a co-op Splinter Cell game. And for this week's Creator Spotlight, I'll be talking about Kahlief Adams and Spawn on Me. So grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's get into it. Looking back, let's rewind a little bit. The very first episode of the Kawfee Break dropped on October 27th, 2021. And back then, it wasn't called the Kawfee Break. It was called the Bleep Bloop Podcast. At first, I was just experimenting. My very first episode, I actually took some of the features and reviews and upcoming games that were in Game Informer, and I talked about those. I also had episodes where I talked about demos, and those episodes were called Demo Days. And I played most of them were indie games, genres that I like to play, Metroidvanias and stuff like that. But I was just trying different things, seeing what worked. And then I started to just have gamer topics, water cooler conversations. I've also done things where I talked about gaming news, which was episodes called The Headlines, where I tried to do those every week. And I even tinkered with video episodes as well as audio. But one of the biggest struggles early on was consistency. I was throwing out too many ideas at once. It made it harder to stick with a routine. And sometimes I just felt really overwhelmed with the entire creation process. It wasn't the topics, it wasn't recording, it was the energy to edit, promote, prep, do it all over again every week. But when I did find my rhythm, things would fall into place. So while it has been one of my biggest struggles, it also was my biggest achievement. When I did have consistency, there was a small viewership, a small community of people that would listen. I won't sit here and definitively say that I've yielded very big growth from my episodes, but I've also noticed a lot recently that I've seen more of a spike with the episodes appearing on YouTube as opposed to just Spotify. So that's really cool. One of my proudest moments, though, was when I dropped my Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown review. And that episode had got the most plays that I've had on a single podcast. And it was just a review. It literally was a condensed version of the video review, and I've just pushed it into an audio format on the podcast. But that just reinforced something that I learned over time, which was when you find something that works, it makes everything easier and way more fun, and you just have to stick to it. With all that said, I do this because I love to do it. And I have to remind myself of that even as I record this episode. It doesn't really matter if one person listens to it or if hundreds of people listen to it. I do it because I love games. I genuinely love video games. If you're a good person at heart and you love games, you're cool with me. I'll be cool with you. But when it's everything else, I just choose not to talk about it. And maybe that's because of my personal experiences. I've had a lot of experiences in life that have pushed me to a position where I just like to be at peace. I want to try to achieve that peace. And by playing games, that's where I get the most peace. So that doesn't mean I try to turn a blind eye to things. Like, I do see what goes on in the world, and I genuinely wish that people could come to an agreement with things. But there's always agendas, there's always reasons why people do stuff, and it's just unfortunate that we can't get to that space. What's next for the podcast? I can definitively say I'm going to still be focusing on an audio-first experience. Another thing I'd like to do is bring on guests, whether it's fellow podcasters, gamers, influencers, or people working in the gaming industry. Just having good conversations about games, content creation, and the industry as a whole is something I really want to try to dive into. But we'll see. Maybe I don't do it at all, because I have said that in the past. As for my goals for the next 50 episodes, really, it's just a matter of staying consistent and hopefully grow the audience. I just want to keep making something that people can enjoy and keep improving along the way. And again, I want to do this and have fun with doing it. So maybe that's another goal that I need to state. I want to have more fun with what I do with the podcast. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii demo drops. Sega has released a demo for Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, giving players a first taste of the game's new adventure in an over-the-top pirate-themed storyline. Fans of Like a Dragon can expect more wild antics, dramatic fights, and some fresh gameplay mechanics. IGN reports, quote, "The demo is available now, letting players dive into the first chapter of the game. Progress from the demo will also carry over to the full version when it releases, making it a great way to get a head start." I've been waiting for new Like a Dragon content, more specifically ever since I played Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. When I saw this demo drop, I immediately jumped on it. So if you're like me, we're going to take on some pirates and we're going to experience the chaos firsthand, and I cannot wait. Avowed early reviews are in. Obsidian's Avowed is finally getting its first round of reviews, and opinions are a bit mixed. While some are praising its world and charm, others feel it falls short in depth and balance. PC Gamer's Sean Prescott gave it an 82 out of 100, stating, "Bigger than it first appears, Avowed is an engrossing and gorgeous action RPG set in one of the most engaging fantasy worlds going, though it lacks the complex systems of its most beloved contemporaries." Eurogamer's Robert Perchesi, hope I said that right, scored it 4 out of 5, calling it, quote, "one of this year's most pleasant surprises," end quote, adding, quote, "What Avowed lacks in gloss, it makes up for with charm, depth, and a playful heart," end quote. Not all reviews are glowing though. GameSpot's Alessandro Barbosa rated it a 6 out of 10, saying, quote, "Avowed's impactful and satisfying combat is undone by a widely unbalanced upgrade system and an uninteresting story," end quote. Meanwhile, Games Radar's Ann Koselke had a more personal takeaway, writing, quote, "I'll not soon forget my time with Avowed. Chaos, comedy, catastrophe, and all," end quote. Now, what I can say is I've invested about 11 hours into the game so far, and for me, I'm enjoying it. I plan on doing a first few hours review, so stay looking out for my YouTube, for the YouTube video on my YouTube channel. And I absolutely plan to go through every nook and cranny of this game, because like I said, I'm enjoying it, and I'm pretty sure that regardless, my takeaway is that I will overall enjoy the game. But I'll give you a more detailed review in the future. Onimusha uses the likeness of an actor who passed away 28 years ago. Capcom's upcoming game, Onimusha: Way of the Sword, is making headlines for an unexpected reason. It features a protagonist based on an actor who passed away nearly 3 decades ago. According to VGC, quote, Capcom has used CGI and performance capture to bring the likeness of the late Shintaro Katsu to life in this new Onimusha project. The legendary actor, known for his portrayal of Zatoichi in classic samurai films, has been faithfully recreated for the game, end quote. This raises an interesting discussion in gaming. Should studios bring back actors who are no longer alive? Some see it as a tribute, while others question the ethics of using someone's likeness without their direct approval. Regardless, Onimusha fans are excited to see how the game turns out. Video games have always modeled the likeness of somebody. Now, have they went to this length? No, but I mean, in the day and age where we have the technology to recreate things and themes, is that a bad thing? I mean, I think if there's no recognition paid to that individual, then yeah, absolutely. I think if there's blatant plagiarism or, a lack of better words, ripping off of intellectual property, then yeah, then absolutely there's a problem. But if this is just creating a character that utilizes the similarities or the resemblance of a fan favorite actor, then that to me is an homage. You know, that's paying homage to somebody. So I don't think it's a bad thing. And the final story, should Ubisoft make a co-op Splinter Cell? Joseph Fares thinks so. Joseph Fares, the creator of co-op hits like It Takes Two and A Way Out, has some advice for Ubisoft. Make Splinter Cell co-op only. Speaking to Games Radar, Fares said, quote, Ubisoft is struggling and should make a co-op Splinter Cell game. Don't chicken out to do single player. Just say this is split screen only, end quote. Ubisoft has been teasing a Splinter Cell remake for a while now, but details remain scarce. With the company facing some struggles, could a bold move like a co-op only Splinter Cell be the way to revitalize the franchise? Some fans are skeptical, as Splinter Cell has always been known for its solo stealth gameplay, but others believe this could bring fresh energy to the series. What do you think? Should Ubisoft take the risk and go all in on co-op, or should Splinter Cell stick to its roots? I disagree with Joseph on this one. I think it should remain solo because that's what I remember from Splinter Cell. I remember it being a solo campaign. However, I think if you maybe introduce a short story, you know, like a side-scrolling game where you can introduce a new protagonist, then you do a AAA game that is a Splinter Cell co-op that actually has that second protagonist. Now you can do a co-op game, a co-op campaign. This week's Creator Spotlight is on Kahlief Adams and Spawn on Me, a podcast that focuses on gaming through the lens of Black culture. Kahlief has been doing this for years, and he's built an incredible platform that highlights diversity in the gaming industry, while also just being a damn good gaming podcast. One thing I love about Spawn on Me is how Kahlief balances deep, meaningful conversations with fun gaming discussions. He's interviewed developers, journalists, and other gaming personalities, always brings insightful takes and great energy. If you're into gaming podcasts and you haven't checked out Spawn on Me yet, do yourself a favor and give it a listen. Additionally, he's never afraid to speak out against the narrative that the grifter culture seemingly wants to perpetuate and promote. Additionally to that, he tries to recognize gaming as a whole. I think Kahlief does a great job in the industry, and again, if you haven't listened to Spawn on Me, you need to go take a listen. That's a wrap on episode 50 of the Kawfee Break. Again, thank you to everyone who's been listening. Whether this is your first episode or your 50th, I'd love to hear from you. What's been your favorite episode so far? And if you don't have one, go find one. We have 50 options. And what do you want to see in the next 50 episodes? Hit me up on social media and let me know. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. It helps the podcast grow. You can follow and connect with me on X at 1 Cup of Kawfee, that's one CUPAKAWFEE, on YouTube, The Cup of Kawfee Break, THECUPAKAWFEE Break, and on Twitch, Cup of Kawfee, CUPAKAWFEE. Until the next time, stay coffeed up and keep gaming.